Good morning from WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant, hoping that you're enjoying your weekend. And as you know, Kentucky politics takes no break. Now that the Republican presidential caucus is over and the results are in, the focus of political activists now shifts to 4 special state House elections that could determine the balance of power in Frankfort. Right now, there are 50 Democrats and 46 Republicans in the state House. If the Republicans were to win all 4 seats on Tuesday, it would be 50-50, tied. Both parties know the stakes are high. 2 of the special elections are here in central Kentucky. In Boyle County, Republican Daniel B. Elliott is facing Democrat Bill Knochler. One of them will replace Republican Mike Harmon, who was elected state auditor. And the election of another representative opened the door for the candidacy of today's guests. Ryan Quarles was elected state agriculture commissioner. The 62nd House district covers Owen County, Scott County, and a sliver of Fayette County here in the Bluegrass. The voter registration is 54% Democratic, 39% Republican, 7% are registered independents. Democrat Chuck Tackett will be with us shortly, but first, Republican candidate Philip Pratt is here. Mr. Pratt owns a landscaping business in Georgetown. He's a 1980 UK graduate with a degree in agricultural economics and now a candidate for state representative, something that apparently he has never done before. Welcome, Mr. Pratt. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me here today, sir.
You filed for this office before the party made its pick for the special election. Again, you say you have not really been involved in politics that much before. Why did you decide to run for state representative?
Well, I have been well blessed. My family's been well blessed. As you know, years ago, I started Pratt's Lawn and Landscape, and I started out of my garage with a old station wagon, a used Montgomery Ward's mower, and 1 weed eater. That's a way of my sons make extra money on weekends. Then, a year later, I started Pratt's Lawn and Landscape. That was 21 years ago. Now, I have 35 well-paid, well-trained employees. I have been well blessed. My company's been well blessed. My family's been well blessed. We have always given back to community. We give back. We give to Women's Club. We give to. I've coached youth sports. I've sponsored dozens upon dozens sports teams. And we do free snow removal for several churches in the area, and we do a thing called Project Evergreen. If your spouse is deployed, we will take care of the outside of your house or of your house free of charge till they come back from deployment. I've always felt it was something you need to do is give back to the community. So with that, I thought it was time to when this race came open. I thought this was a great opportunity to give back to the community. It's been so good to me and my family.
Did anybody push you toward this race or recruit you to run?
Not recruit or pushed. I was urged by local businessmen and local farmers, both Republicans and Democrats, to seek this seat.
And what do you think now about it, about being involved in politics? You know, these are pretty tense times, and there are over in Frankfort. You know, the battle that is going on for
Yes.
For the control of the chamber over there. Certainly, this is being watched around the country. We see how tough the presidential race can be. Were you ready for all of that?
No, this is the first time I've ever ran for any office at all. It's the first time. So it's been a pretty steep learning curve. But I think if we don't elect good officials, if we don't put good people in office, I encourage my employees to vote on a regular basis. And if you don't get involved and if you don't do something about the problems we have on the state level, then it's only going to get worse. We need problem solvers in Frankfort, not people who just want to keep kicking that can down the road.
We know a lot of outsiders are trying to influence this special election, certainly. Are you comfortable with the messages being communicated in your name?
Yes. The people that have contributed to my I'm proud to say I've had over 180 individuals contribute to my campaign. There are some outside interests on both sides in this campaign, but I can't control those. That's their issues, not mine. But yes, as far as my campaign, we are staying issue-based, nothing else.
Let's talk about some of the issues. What's the most important issue to you as you would go to Frankfort if you were to be elected?
I guess there's 3 of them that are really hot topics for me. One of them is right-to-work law. Right-to-work law is basically the right, if you go to work at a factory or whatever, and they are union-based, You have the right to decide if you're going to join that union or not, or pay the union dues. I think nobody should be forced to do anything. I think people should have options. I know that right to work is hurting our state because over the years, several outside companies have looked at, coming to Kentucky, and they've looked at Kentucky, who does not have a right to work law. The states around us do have a right to work law, and they wind up going there. That is hurting Kentuckians. It's hurting our economy. Next one is our pension problem. It is absolutely, it is awful. It's been underfunded for years. We need to fix that, and if we don't fix it, I'm afraid it's going to bankrupt the state. Right now, there are two fixes that are out, at least two options to fix this. One of them is to bond $3.3 billion. Bill, that's like taking your Visa, paying off your MasterCard, and saying, I've solved this problem. All we've done is kick that can down the road for your kids and your grandkids to have to pay. They deserve better. The other option, our Governor, Matt Bevin, has come out with, is to actually shrink the size of government, reduce spending, and actually save and pay down that debt. To me, as a small business person, that's a no-brainer. That's the option we need to go to. Next one is our broken health care system. We've offered health care to my employees since the day we opened our doors. And over the years, I see that, I can tell you that cost has gone up, benefits have gone down, and co-pays are astronomical. If we don't, I can tell you that we need to change this. And I would like to see this fixed by, actually, why don't we have, years ago I had 21 companies vying for my business. Last year we were down to 3. I'm afraid we're going to go down to 1. Why don't we go back to have 12 companies come back and bid for our business again? That'd be a great fix.
All right, let's go back and talk about some of those issues. So you say that you support Governor Bevin's approach to the budget, which is to put more money toward the retirement liabilities.
Yes, sir.
He, of course, proposes 9% cuts across much of state government, including to higher education.
Yes, sir.
You in favor of that budget?
Yes, I am in favor, but I haven't seen the details of it, but I am in favor of it. I'm a business person. I've had to do a budget. I've had to stay within that budget, and sometimes that budget, we have to do cuts. You can't afford what you can't afford. So with that, yes, we have got to the point now where our government has overpromised, outpaid more than we have taken in, and we're to the point now, if we don't do something, I'm afraid the state's going to wind up in bankruptcy. So with that, I'm a graduate of UK. Both of my sons are graduates of UK. My daughter went to BCTC. When I went to UK, it was a little bit different environment. I actually worked 3 nights a week and paid my way through college at a local restaurant, Cork and Cleaver here in Lexington, and I came out debt-free. Unfortunately, in today's environment, that is not possible. Right. I don't think you can work long enough to do that. But I do think that, unfortunately, the everyday family has to tighten the belts. Unfortunately, the college, you're going to have to tighten the belts also. I know it's not easy. I know it's not be easy on them. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Well, they say they're going to shift it over to the students with higher tuitions.
I hate to see that, because I tell you, students are coming out now with massive debt loans that they'll have to pay years to pay back. That's not good for the economy. That's not good for them. So there's got to be some fixes they need to look at other than just pass it on to students.
Again, you talked about the Medicaid expansion.
Yes.
And the Connect that former Governor Steve Beshear put in place, and that Governor Matt Bevin says cannot be afforded at this point by the state. You support this governor's approach on health care?
Yes, and when I look at Kentucky Connect, I have a question as a business owner. Why are we duplicating what the federal government already has in place? Why are, again, as a business person, I realize you don't duplicate services unless you have to. I realize when the first federal government affordable health care came out, it was a mess. I understand they now have that in pretty good shape. So why are we doing what the federal government's already doing? Why are we duplicating those services? And I think I just read something last night. To disassemble Kentucky Connect will only cost $240,000 and save the state $20 million. As a business owner, I realize that that's a good deal. It needs to be done, and it's going to save the state. We can take that $20 million and use it for other medical expenses the state has, and it's a good deal for the taxpayer of the state of Kentucky.
Do you support charter schools?
You know, I've had that question asked me many times. My wife is a school teacher. I've been married to Martha Jane for 35 years. She's taught 26 of it. We talk about schools a lot in our family. I don't want to say I'm for it. I'm not against it. I've read several articles that are slanted for it. I've read several articles that slanted against it. I would like to sit down with somebody who actually knows the facts, can walk me through this, so I can make an informed decision on this charter schools. I am a business person. I like to get all the facts, then make my decision from there. So I'm not for or against it, but I'm willing to listen to any solution, any problem. And my wife, being a school teacher, will tell you we need solutions in the school system. We don't need more problems.
Do you support retirement benefits for part-time lawmakers?
No, I do not. You know, I'm sorry, and I'd like to see someone tell me why they have them. I've got my own retirement plan. I started years ago with my company. I do not support that. Now, I'd like to see some transparency in that too. You know, are we talking a little bit of money? Are we talking a lot of money? I understand right now there's been several bills proposed to show that transparency of what are they getting. So when I say that, I'm saying that without knowing all the facts on that. But I'm not too sure why they are allowed to have that.
Do you think these retirement systems overall should be more transparent?
I do. I think they should be very transparent. I mean, I audit my own company that I own on a regular basis to make sure we're doing things right and things are being done. Why don't we audit everybody else? You know, that way you know what, now you have the facts. Now you can make intelligent decisions and not just guess as to why things are being done that way.
What will you be doing between now and Tuesday to try to get out the vote in the special election in an area that you know, some people may not realize that they live in the district?
Yes.
How are you communicating to them?
You know, speaking of living in district kind of interesting, as I drive towards downtown Georgetown, I drive out of my district, into my district, back out of my district, and I only live 1.5 miles from downtown Georgetown. But we will be out knocking on doors, we will be out making phone calls, we will be out working as hard as we can to bring this home and bring a better government to the state of Kentucky.
Philip Pratt is the Republican candidate in the special election for the 62nd District in that House election coming up Tuesday. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me.
And we hope you'll stay with us. Coming up next, the Democrat Chuck Tackett will be joining us on WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers. And good morning again. Welcome back into Kentucky Newsmakers on WKYT. One of 4 special House elections in Kentucky this coming Tuesday is in the 62nd District. It is made up of Owen and Scott counties and a sliver of Fayette County. Republican Philip Pratt was here a bit ago, and now Democrat Chuck Tackett is joining us. Mr. Tackett is a former Scott County magistrate. He was the Democratic nominee for this seat in 2014. He was defeated by Ryan Quarles, who has now been elected to the state agriculture commissioner's position. Mr. Tackett says on his website that Frankfort is being overtaken and paralyzed by Washington-style politics. Mr. Tackett is joining us this morning. We appreciate you coming in. Tell us a little bit about your background and why you have decided to enter a race like this at a crucial time, Mr. Tackett.
A little bit about my background and whatnot. Of course, I'm born and raised in Scott County. I've been a farmer there my entire life. I finished school there. You know, Scott County's been good to me. My wife and I, we've raised 5 children. We own 2 farms. We're still totally in ag. But the big issue out there right now, and the reason why we're in this race, is to end the partisan politics. You know, put Kentucky families first. We're just not there. We need to get there. Bill, I've seen a lot of situations out there, and let me say this. You know, Bill, if it's your idea, my idea, or whoever's idea, if it moves the state of Kentucky forward, why do we have to be so far apart? Why can we not come together and make it work?
Well, you have talked about Washington-style politics in Frankfort. Here you are now talking about entering into being a part of the hardball situations over there. Do many lawmakers, in your view, take their position based on where it is coming from and who is saying it rather than on the merits of what is being proposed?
I'm not going to speak for the other people there already. I only want to speak for myself. I know what I can do and what I want to do, and that is put Kentucky families first and do what's right for the state of Kentucky.
What would be your top priorities if you were to be elected?
You know, and this is one of the top priorities. The pension funding out there and whatnot, it's about a $34 billion hole that's out there, whether it be the teachers' retirement or the state workers and whatnot. Bill, I guess for far too long we've robbed Peter to pay Paul. Sometime you got to start paying that debt back. You know, we don't need to increase taxes to do so and whatnot, but those pensions were guaranteed. We have to make those whole. We have to do what's right by the state of Kentucky and the people of Kentucky. So we've got to work together. We've got to come up with common solutions, common ground, and make that happen.
Do you support the governor's approach to that, which is to put significant money directly toward those pension liabilities, but at the same time he's making cuts across state government and to higher education?
I won't say that I oppose what he's doing to put money back into it, because it is the right thing. At some point in time, if we don't man up and do what's right, at some point in time that system will be broke, and we cannot allow that to happen. We just can't. It just cannot happen.
So you would support his budget proposal then?
Not all of his, but just in pensions, parts of it, yes, sir.
Well, there's only so much money.
There is only so much money. That is correct. But we have to work together to put some monies back where they belong. We can't. To me, it's going to be hard. As being a farmer and whatnot, we go out and we borrow money to raise crops and whatnot. But we have to make that whole thing. And sooner or later, that note comes due. It has to be paid. We must do the same thing in state government. We must live within our means.
You mentioned on your website that Kentucky's tax code should be reformed, is the word that's used there. What changes would you want to see there? And as you know, some say that tax code reform to them is code for tax increases.
There is. Actually, I had studied a little bit. Maybe I saw a portion of a bill someplace that talked about a small tax on pensions. I couldn't support a tax on pensions at this point in time. Those things are guaranteed to those folks. You can't tax what really belongs to them. It's just not. In my opinion, it's not the right thing to do. But as far as tax codes, you and I know, and everybody out there knows that it's antiquated. We need to modernize our tax code. We need to bring things up to standards.
And how do you do that? You raise some and lower some?
As I said, we have to work together. You've got to be the partisan politics of that. We're out here and they're over here. We've got to come together. We've got to come to an agreement someplace.
But Mr. Tackett, this is a partisan situation.
Absolutely.
You're talking about a state house that is split right down the middle.
Right down the middle,
and
yes.
You'll be entering into that situation. I mean, how does a farmer from Scott County go and deal with a situation like that?
There's one thing about it. After Tuesday, if we get elected, we're going to find out. At this point in time, I've got to take my ideas from where I have farmed all these years, been successful, and make that a part of what goes on in Frankfort.
And what are some of those things? What are some principles that you would cling to?
As I said, when to begin a year, most all farmers and whatnot, they have a production note or whatever, and they borrow funds to get through that entire year. We operate on a commodity market. If commodities are down, at the end of the year, our prices are not going to be good. As this past year, 2015, we had tobacco, corn, beans, and cattle, all those commodities down. So we have to tighten our belt. And the same thing in Frankfort. You've got to be able to tighten that belt and do what's right. You have to live within your means.
There are outside groups that are spending money in this election and speaking, purporting to speak in behalf of the candidates. Are you comfortable with that?
This is Kentucky. I really don't think we need the out-of-state Washington money coming in here in a campaign like this and whatnot. This is the state of Kentucky. It needs to stay within Kentucky. I don't think they need to come here and try to buy the house. Absolutely not. No, sir.
And yet you have had ads run on your campaign that are bought by others that
Sure.
talk about they talk about higher education specifically.
Absolutely. Higher education and whatnot, according to the governor's cuts and whatnot, I think like $205 million. I can't support that. It doesn't matter if it's higher education or kindergarten through the 12th grade. We have to do what's right for the state of Kentucky. We have to move these young people forward.
If it's $200 million, then do you cut that back from what you would put into the pensions?
Can't answer that today. But I will say this, if you cut back the $200 million or whatever, add to tuition cost and whatnot, in my opinion, that's just a tax on the middle income families and whatnot. You know, what I'm trying to say is, Bill, that if you add 8% on $30,000 college tuition, that's $2,400. Do you have that $2,400 just to put in for next year for your child to go to school?
Well, there is also a big back and forth about the Medicaid expansion and Connect, and Governor Bevin saying that we can't afford it. Former Governor Steve Beshear points to more people having access to health care at this point after putting that in place. What approach to health care do you support?
You know, Bill, at this time, to my understanding is we put 500,000 people on insurance that did not have insurance before. It seemed to be a great tool. It was going in the right direction. Then you hear the scenario that the fees are going to be escalated and become totally unaffordable. But at the same time, we've put these people that now have insurance, and if we dismantle everything, what are we going to do about all this? What are these people going to do? You know, it's required by federal government now, by the Obama administration, for the affordable health care. So my thought is, if we're going to do all this, we should have had a plan in place before we started dismantling the Kentucky Connect, excuse me.
Well, I think they have to wait to do that until it is approved by the federal government. They're trying to get a waiver, but that's on the expansion and so forth. All right. Are you in favor of retirement pensions for part-time lawmakers?
I think so, yes, sir.
And you think they earn those pensions?
If it's shared, if both parties pay in, I don't see why they shouldn't be. You know, if it's a matching pension plan, but it has to be a matching pension plan.
So you mean, in other words, part would be cut from their pay and part would be matched by the state? Is that?
If that's the way it's handled today, it should continue to be that way.
Continue.
And I'm going to say this: I'm not real comfortable with that one. I'm not sure I quite understand it. Everything you're asking me on that particular question right now.
Well, it's just right now that at the end of some years of service, those elected to the state legislature then draw a pension for life when they leave.
Oh my, okay. Then let's back up. Can we back up? Because
yes.
I'm sure this is going to be edited. Let's say that I'm not 100% positive about what needs to be done there today. Now I understand what you're trying to say to me. You know, I'm not sure. That's an issue on taxpayers and whatnot. I would like to be able to research that a little more. This has never come up in any questionnaire before.
How will you listen to people when you, if you were to be elected? How would you gather input from people throughout the district?
Well, you know, there's always social media out there. That's the most popular there is out there at this day and time. But Bill, let me say, I like to start my day, and I don't have an extravagant breakfast, but a group of gentlemen and I, we go to a local, it's a marathon station there in Georgetown, and it has a little bar along the wall, and we have quite a clientele that comes in there, and it's of both parties, and we kind of talk about what's going on. Small business owners, we have a good time. We don't eat extravagant. We'll have a Coke, cup of coffee, or a Little Debbie cake or something like that. We don't have a lot of money, so we try to do what's right. We try to figure out what's going on out there, and they'll bring things in that they're hearing out there in the community, and I'll talk about what I've learned, you know, that day or in the past, and a lot of that is, I think, being on fiscal court in Scott County and whatnot is a great tool to be able to go into this race. We had a judge executive there. I was with him for 8 years, quite an educator. He took me a long way. There was a lot to learn, and hopefully I did what was right.
So small community gatherings are sort of your sounding board.
Right, town hall meetings.
Would you welcome anybody to that group at the marathon?
Anybody's welcome to come to that. And you know, we get a lot of new people. They'll walk by, they'll pass their opinion.
Yeah.
And it's a good place, you know. It's not biased or anything like that. Anybody wants to put their 2 cents worth in, we let them have it.
Well, the district is interesting, and it is Scott County and Owen County, and then a sliver of Fayette County.
Yes, sir.
How will you be between now and Tuesday communicating with those folks, reminding people that you know, some vote and some don't? I will tell you, and I've not said anything else to you about what your opponent said, except that he indicated that just driving through Scott County, you go in the district, out of the district, that sort of thing. So some people may have difficulty knowing the lines.
You know what I think they do? I'm a little more familiar with this after running the 2014 race. As far as community, the weather's not been real good to us the last couple of days. As you saw, the snow, very pretty snow. It came pretty quick. It got a couple of 3 inches on the ground where I was at, but Days like that, we got on the phones. I'm on the phones with people right now, especially, sometimes they want to hear from me, not from our phone bankers and whatnot. I enjoy talking to those people. I ask them any issues that we can discuss, and we try to talk those over and whatnot. We've got a lot of people on the ground game. We do. We have large numbers out there. It's been very good. Of course, we've got TV ads up. We've got radio ads up. There are different meetings going on, and just any way to reach the voters. Of course, this election is going to be turnout. It's all about turnout.
All right, Mr. Tackett, thanks for coming in. And that is Chuck Tackett, who is the Democratic nominee for the 62nd House District in this special election Tuesday. We'll wrap up Kentucky Newsmakers in just a moment. And if we wrap up Kentucky Newsmakers, it's been quite a political weekend. The Republicans, of course, having that caucus on Saturday. Now, in these special elections coming up on Tuesday, the 4 special House elections, and there's also, by the way, a wet, dry election going on down in McCreary County in southern Kentucky. All voters are eligible to go to the polls regardless of party registration or independence as well. Anybody eligible to vote if you're eligible to vote in that district. So all of that coming up. The polls open 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday. We'll have results on WKYT News. I will see you bright and early this week on WKYT This Morning. Certainly hope you make it a good week ahead.